Oh God, everyone's around here.
JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories.
You live in sexual anarchy.
This is the Troll Patrol, live with JustinFREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live. It's a freaking Sunday. Last week was Super Bowl Sunday. This week we're going to be watching Grand Slam from last night. It was AEW's not a pay-per-view event, but it was a special event that they held in Australia. Brody King challenged MJF for the AEW World title. Now, Brody King making news this past week as the wrestler that keeps getting fuck ice chants at him every time he's in the ring because he wore a fuck ice shirt or abolish ice, or I can't. He's wore multiple shirts. MJF cut a promo on him and said he was the most Nazi-looking liberal he'd ever seen in his life. It was very funny. But there was a whole controversy this past week that apparently Warner Brothers Discovery might have kept him off the air because they didn't want a fuck ice chant loudly on their show, as they're going to need the Trump administration for their possible purchase by Netflix. It's a whole ordeal. We got the vertical stream going on YouTube. You guys told me I wasn't antagonistic enough with the title last time, so we went with the, right-wingers are morons, prove me wrong. But apparently Twitch don't like that, so I had to censor morons on Twitch. But I specifically went on YouTube. We now have a thumbnail. I made a specific thumbnail for the vertical stream on YouTube. It looks something like this. Clinically, welcome in. So we'll see if we get any right-wingers wanting to come in and prove me wrong that right-wingers aren't morons. If you go and listen to any of my calls that I've had with right-wingers, I think it's pretty obvious that right-wingers are morons. Zacurl, thank you. Like the stream, cunts. I appreciate it. I'm hoping we've got 420 coming up in about 15 minutes. I'm hoping I did not pack this one too tightly. Now, as you can see, Curiouser once again has cleaned the bong. It is immaculate. Maybe not immaculate because we've already smoked out of it like twice since she cleaned it. I walked out, she's like, bring me your bong. And I'm like, yeah, it is about time for a bong. Oh, you mean to clean it? So I've packed us a fine bowl of Gorilla Face. No. Gorilla Face, what we had last. This is Gorilla King. So better than Gorilla Face, this is Gorilla King. And then Peach Ring Dabs. It's a Super Bowl. No, a Super Bowl was last week. Well, that doesn't work very well, Holiday. You can't really watch the stream. You have me muted. Welcome in, my friend. Clinically. Good afternoon. We got a lot of shit to talk about. News be doing a lot of stupid shit. I got you updates in the Savannah Guthrie case. Mark Wayne Mullen, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, apparently popped a vein in his head. I'm Byronic. I am waiting 14 minutes until 4:20 on the East Coast. I have this amazing bong packed and ready to go. Curiouser is out there cooking. I told her to be sure to get to a stopping point for 4:20 so she can come in here and partake upon this bong with me. So we will be doing that. All kinds of news to talk about. 41 DUI arrests by one Tennessee state trooper have now been overturned. We've covered this story a couple different times that Tennessee Highway Patrol is basically out here just making up DUI arrests. Multiple innocent people. I mean, we're talking hundreds. 41 by one trooper alone. This should be a huge scandal. A retailer, apparently a large retailer, I can't wait to find out who it is. I wonder if they are going to tell us, asked a customer to sign an NDA before they would let them do a return on an item. A family in Oklahoma has a sign in their front yard putting State Farm Insurance on blast. Anybody fans of Wendy's, the fast food restaurant? Do I have any Wendy's fans in here? Because it's not a good day for you if you are. Wendy's closing hundreds of stores across the country. Things not going well. For a franchise that once dominated following a ad campaign featuring an old lady saying, "Where's the beef?" which I believe is a sexual innuendo. If it happens again, just talk louder. I'm sure that will fix it, and I'm sure that Curiouser will appreciate that. Alexei Navalny, the Russian dissident who was allegedly poisoned 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, has been confirmed he was poisoned with frog poison. The U.S. not disputing the EU's account following an investigation. We're going to hear from Thomas Massey. We're going to hear from Tom Homan. We're going to hear from Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. I know you guys love that. Marco Rubio, the latest in the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping. All that and a lot freaking more this evening on the Troll Patrol Live. Welcome, friends. If it happens again, just talk louder. As I stated, we're going to watch AEW Grand Slam following the stream on Twitch only. It will be Twitch only. And the reason why is because wrestling crossing over into the politics. Rule-breaking new move in pro wrestling, getting specific about politics. This is Brody King, the man I was just talking about, challenging MJF for the AEW World title. That is the match that we're going to watch following the conclusion of the Troll Patrol. Big bad Brody King stood in one corner, long gray streaked beard jutting out, all hulking muscle, and he is not all hulking muscle. He's a big brute of a guy. He's a like a farm boy strong kind of deal. But he is not hulking muscle. That is not Brody King's body type. He had tattoos above his barbed wire logo trunks. In the other corner, hair combed neatly back, beard tidily trimmed, stood Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and he's better than you. The reigning All-Elite Wrestling World Champion. With two pro wrestlers about to square up in a Wednesday night match in Las Vegas this month, the fired-up crowd spoke with one voice. Fuck Ice. The video with a stiff-faced Friedman casting wide-eyed sideways looks at the crowd quickly spread outside the circles of wrestling fandom. A great match is a great match, and a widely charismatic babyface or heel has been known to... It was not a great match. We watched it on stream last week. It was a what they call a squash match, and they squashed their world champion. It's wild. A wildly charismatic babyface or heel has been known to make the leap to Hollywood stardom and beyond, but rarely does a crowd reaction at an event make a splash in the broader world. Professional wrestling has always drawn on politics as a source of melodrama. There was Hulk Hogan, who stomped into the ring while his theme song Real American blared over the speakers, rousing the arena for him to fight the foreign Iron Sheik, or Sergeant Slaughter, whose villainous persona made him a Saddam Hussein sympathizer at the height of the Gulf War. But the chance that the recent AEW match showcased a new, more specific way that wrestling is grappling with politics, American political life has, as commentators say, come more and more to resemble pro wrestling, then pro wrestling has also evolved to meet it. where wrestlers used to work in broad cartoonish themes that appealed to the agreed-on sympathies of the entire audience, today the question of what the good guys stand for is a live dispute, matching the conflicts playing out in the real world. King has raised money to support immigrants in Minnesota and has worn an Abolish I shirt to the ring. Hangman Adam Page, who is an idiot, gave a speech in Spanish during a show in Mexico City, reminiscing to the roaring crowd about working side by side with Mexican farm workers in the U.S. and praising their values and work ethic. Good for him. He's still a piece of shit. And then declaring that he planned to hunt down his rival John Moxley and le voy a petir su madre. We are not going to watch that match. Now, Toni Storm, the woman who you guys know her as Titty Slap.
A titty slap!
Come on now.
She actually put her hair on the line in a match, so we may watch that. The most prominent political chant in wrestling history is a USA chant for jeering wrestlers who hailed from outside the U.S. This is according to Arrow Lane, a professor of theater who studies the history of professional wrestling at the State University of New York at Buffalo. World Wrestling Entertainment also had a tag team named the Real Americans, portrayed by American wrestler Jack Swagger and Swiss wrestler Cesaro, who led crowds in a We the People chant, but they were mocking. I don't think it started as mocking Trump, but that's where it went. Wrestlers, Lane said, could embody any idea. You can actually watch two ideas fight each other in the ring, and you can cheer and boo for each of them. So there's kind of morality play at work in the ring. Sometimes wrestlers have even portrayed real political figures, as when impersonators of then Senators Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton squared off during the 2008 presidential campaign. But the anti-ice calls from the crowd at AEW are interesting in that they support a political stance associated with one of the wrestlers, but they are not necessarily directly related to what's happening in the ring, and the chant is not part of the repertoire of standard wrestling chants. The embrace of contemporary issues is part of a larger politically shaded rivalry playing out in the industry between the 7-year-old AEW and the industry's ruling juggernaut for generations, WWE. We're about 5 minutes away from 420 on the East Coast. WWE, founded by the McMahon family, started in the 1950s as a relatively small company based in the northeastern United States and rolled up its regional rivals in the 1980s to dominate wrestling coast to coast. It is the largest wrestling promotion in the world, and it regularly garners double, if not triple, the audience of AEW. That's an understatement. More like quintuple the audience. As WWE grew, the conservative political involvement of the McMahon family grew with it. Vince McMahon, who purchased the company from his father in 1982 and was executive chairman before resigning in 2024, is a personal friend of President Donald Trump. His wife, Linda McMahon, is the U.S. Education Secretary. His son-in-law, Paul Levesque, also known by his wrestling name Hunter Hearst Helmsley or Triple H, is the vice chair of the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition. I thought that was perfectly fine to have Triple H in that position, but as someone else pointed out, Triple H is not natural, though he probably should not be in that position. Trump himself is a member of the WWE Hall of Fame. AEW's willingness to have wrestlers take stances on contemporary issues has become for fans a point of distinction between the promotions, drawing audiences wary of McMahon's connections back to sports entertainment. Scott Lang of Atlanta was a wrestling fan when he was in college. Wrestlers like former Olympic gold medal winner Kurt Angle and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson were popular, and he enjoyed how it all seemed simultaneously over the top yet self-aware. That is not how I would describe the Attitude Era. But then there were a lot of tawdry, ugly stuff, he said. He stopped watching for 20 years. AEW brought him back, and in large part he said it was because the wrestlers were allowed to express themselves more freely. So, it really didn't get into the whole, Brody King wasn't on the show last week, and a lot of people speculated it was because Warner Brothers Discovery needs approval for any popular merger. Angry hairpiece, I don't, and ironic name there for the topic. Trump was part of the biggest WrestleMania up until that point. It was a hair versus hair match, which, who wouldn't be interested in that? Donald Trump's hair versus Vince McMahon's hair in a WrestleMania match. It was Umaga representing Vince McMahon and Bobby Lashley representing Donald Trump. Bobby Lashley won. Vince McMahon got his head shaved. And then Donald Trump ended up taking a stunner from Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin has stunned our president. We are a couple minutes away from 420 on the East Coast. If you would like to join me, get your marijuana accoutrements ready. We will be watching AEW Grand Slam following the Troll Patrol, and that will be on Twitch. Sorry, YouTube people. Twitch is a little more forgiving about the whole copyright thing. We'll be watching AEW Grand Slam directly following the Troll Patrol. The last time you watched wrestling was in 1987 then. Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3, where Hogan said that he slammed Andre for the first time. That's not true, actually. Hogan had slammed Andre many times. Many people slammed Andre. But it didn't happen on TV, so they were able to get away with it. You didn't have the internet back then to know that Andre had actually been slammed. It was like a big deal when Andre came into the territory. And if he liked a wrestler, he'd let a wrestler slam him because it was a big deal to slam Andre the Giant. 15 seconds until 420 on the East Coast. DJ Dub, if you're here, I believe this new song did the trick. It worked. East Coast people, light one up, tip one back. Curious, sir. Come have a happy 420 with us. I think she might have music on, so just turning up my loud mouth. I thought this might have been, or the other day might have been the last time we would get to do the countdown. Because I'm going to bite the bullet and pay to go on TikTok. But I am apparently not allowed to be on TikTok just yet. Last time I tried to be on TikTok, I came on, I was like, I'm not high enough for this shit. Took a rip and the stream came straight down. TikTok don't like the marijuana. Of course, if you are partaking, make sure that you are in a legal state and following all rules and laws and blah, 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 blah. I do not condone law breaking. We were talking about ICE and the AEW fuck ICE chants. Tom Homan on Face the Nation this morning discussing ICE.
another funding standoff, and it's unclear at this point when it could end, as Congress is on recess for another week. So for more on the debate over immigration enforcement tactics, we're joined by White House border czar Tom Homan. Mr. Homan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I want to begin, of course, with negotiations over reopening the Department of Homeland Security. They center around some specific policy changes Democrats demand in how immigration agents conduct operations. Among other things, they'd like to require immigration agents to show identification, wear body cameras, take off their masks, stop racial profiling, and seek judicial warrants to enter private property. Which, if any of those,
doesn't seem unreasonable.
Is the president, are you willing to consider adopting?
Well, I'm not a part of those negotiations that's being done up on the Hill between Senate and House and the White House. I'm not really part of those negotiations. But look, you know, when they say stop racial profiling, that's just not occurring. I mean, you know, ICE
bullshit.
Briefly detain and question somebody based on reasonable suspicion. It has nothing to do with racial profiling. As far as the mask, look, you know, I don't like the masks either. But because threats against ICE officers, are up over 1,500%, actual assaults, and threats are up over 8,000%. These men and women have to protect themselves. As far as identifying themselves, they all have placards identifying themselves as ICE, ERO, HSI, DEA, FBI. So they all have placards on them. So I'll let the White House and members of Congress, fight that out. But I think some of the asks are just, I think they're unreasonable because there is no racial profiling. There is identifying marks. But masks, why don't they talk about maybe passing legislation to make it illegal to dox agents or something like that? But the masks right now are for officer safety reasons.
There are federal laws, of course, against injuring, harming, threatening federal authorities. So there is that. And I think one of the things that people get hung up on is the idea that the cop on the street in their neighborhood, a state police officer, other federal agents will identify themselves with their name on their lapel. And yes, they're employing agency, but why should these immigration agents be any different? And when it comes to the masks as well, cops go out every day.
I don't know.
Everywhere across the country get threatened in one way or another. But why have to wear all that and protect themselves when there are others out there wearing badges that don't have to do that?
Well, again, they are wearing badges. They're wearing placards to identify what agency they're from.
But their name isn't on it, right?
When it comes to masks, I don't know of another law enforcement agency.
New 666 world, welcome in.
8,000%
Lord, good afternoon.
And threats. Just yesterday, the director of ICE, his wife was filmed walking to work. His home address has been doxxed. His kids have been doxxed and filmed. So no, I don't know of another agency in this country that has an 8,000% increase.
Who gives a shit?
Look, let's remember why we're here, Ed. We're here because the last 4 years, over 10 million illegal aliens crossed that border, released in this country unvetted. ICE has to do a law enforcement response to deal with the last 4 years of open.
This is probably his kid. When he says his kid's been doxxed, this is probably his kid right here. Were they out in like the vestibule of the school talking about how much they loved ICE? Was this your kid?
For ICE!
That's crazy, bro.
I don't know what's crazy about this.
Yeah, I'm going to punch you.
You're gonna punch me?
Yes.
And you're gonna get in trouble for that.
Okay.
Whoa. I support ICE!
That's crazy, bro.
I don't know what's crazy about this.
That's crazy, bro.
You're gonna punch me?
Yes.
And you're gonna get in trouble for that.
Okay.
Legend.
I support ICE!
That's crazy, bro.
I don't know what's crazy about this.
Yeah, I'm going to punch you.
You're gonna punch me?
Yes.
And you're gonna get...
Now, I think the true way to handle that is like this dude did it. That's crazy, bro. And just laugh at how stupid he is.
I support ICE!
That's crazy, bro.
I don't know what's crazy about this.
Yeah, I'm going to punch you.
You're gonna punch me?
Yes.
And you're gonna get in trouble for that.
Okay.
Whoa. I support ICE!
I think laughing at him is more effective, but like he deserved to be punched. Is that what you mean when you say your kid has been doxxed or ICE agents' kids have been doxxed?
It was secure every day, and it wasn't.
What's so wrong about obtaining a judicial warrant to enter private property?
That's not what the federal law requires. Congress themselves wrote the Immigration Nationality Act that gave power on the administrative warrant. to arrest somebody, and that's what's set up in federal statute. So if Congress wants that changed, then Congress can legislate. But right now, ICE is acting within the framework of.
So I get RFK on this motherfucker. He don't look healthy.
By President.
Well, as I recall, you have previously said that you thought judicial warrants were necessary for searches. There's been this change in policy in that now ICE can go with these administrative warrants that are issued by ICE personnel. Why your change of heart? I mean, clearly there, at one point at least, you agreed that was necessary.
No, I don't have a change of heart. What I understand, and I wasn't part of the discussion, is that DOJ interpret that law saying in certain circumstances, the minister has a final order removal, already had a due process issued by a federal judge, they can enter premises. I'm not a part of that discussion, but that's the DOJ guidance.
Last week, you announced the months-long operation known as Metro Surge in Minnesota is winding down. ICE, of course, is going to maintain a presence in the state, but not at the levels we've seen in recent weeks. If things keep winding down, when should that surge be over?
Well, look, we already removed well over 1,000 people, and as of Monday or Tuesday, we'll remove several hundred more. We'll get back to the original footprint, with the exception of the agents there to do the fraud investigation.
Does he have a little drinky boo?
Work until they're done. The agents investigating the church issue, where the people went into the church, they'll stay and get that work done. But there will be a small force, a security force, what we call RFQs, that will our security forces that will respond to when our agents are out and they get surrounded by agitators and things got out of control. Mm-hmm. And they'll remain for a short period of time just to make sure the coordination, the agreements we have with local and state law enforcement stay in place and they respond to a public safety threat when needed. And so hopefully those security forces, that small footprint security forces can be removed really fairly quickly. I'm hoping. Sure. I think things are going the right direction, and I got faith they'll continue that way.
This was the largest deployment of federal immigration agents in department history. Do you anticipate there'll be others on the scale seen in Minneapolis?
I think it depends on the situation. I've said from day one that, we need to flood the zone in sanctuary cities with additional agents. The number of agents will depend on the situation on the ground, how many known criminal targets are out there. Because we know we have a problem with sanctuary cities, because we know they're releasing public safety threats in the public. So rather than arresting that one criminal in jail, one agent arresting one criminal alien in the safety and security of a jail, which is safer for the agent, safer for the alien, safer for the community, they release him in the street. Now we got to send a whole team or 6 or 7 people.
Did those dabs do a number on me? And because he sounds like he's just mumbling drunk. Like, I'm kind of getting what he's saying, but it's hard to piece it together.
That is a win we had in Minnesota.
Is that me or him?
Because now we have agreements and coordination with jails. We can rest that public safety threat and the safety and security of jail, which means we don't have to send 6 or 7 people out to look for them. So I'm hoping other sanctuary cities look at what happened in Minnesota and how we got to the place red, which I think is a good place. I hope more.
I'm either too high or he's drunk.
With these states to let our officers in the jail.
At least a little tipsy.
You can't. A lot of politicians are out there on the left or the Democrats saying, "Okay, ICE, we agree. You should be focusing on public safety threats. You should be focusing on illegal aliens who have committed serious crimes in this country." But they lock us out of the jail. You can't square that. If you really want us to focus on the criminals, then let us in the jail. That's the safest, most secure place to do our work.
A few other things quickly, if we can. As the surge winds down in Minneapolis, one of the more dramatic incidents now is very much
the surge. That's what they used to call it
agents
when we sent a bunch of troops into Iraq.
Because video evidence shows their sworn testimony appears to have been untruthful. Only hours after that incident occurred, you'll recall DHS had said the ICE officer who shot the migrant they were targeting was being ambushed and feared for his life. That now appears to be untrue. You take that incident combined with the 2 deadly shootings in Minneapolis and an incident in Chicago recently where evidence contradicted the government's claim a woman rammed an agent's vehicle, and I wonder, does this all just further undermine trust in ICE across the country?
Well, look, my first press conference in Minnesota, I said I was bringing additional internal affairs agents in just to make sure officers in the field is doing the right thing. And every one of those instances you just talked about were turned over to Internal Affairs. I know the FBI is investigating the cases also. So we'll see where those investigations lead. But as the ICE director said on Friday, people will be held accountable, and they'll be fully investigated. And how that investigation comes out, then disciplinary action or prosecutions will occur.
Right. A Wall Street Journal report published in recent days, I'm sure you've seen it, details widespread concerns with the leadership of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and her chief advisor, Corey Lewandowski. The report says you rarely speak with the secretary or Lewandowski, despite the fact that you oversee immigration issues as well from the White House perspective, and that you've repeatedly complained to the White House about them. What is your concern with Secretary Noem and Corey Lewandowski?
Look, it's one team, one fight. I'm not playing in that, media. They're trying to divide this administration. They want to attack the men and women who work in this administration. Look,
is it possible that Homan's not all bad?
No.
And he's trying to rein in the administration? He said no.
Every day we have a multi-agency conference call and meeting.
He literally responded no to me.
Different opinions. Well, those different opinions are worked out, and we move forward. The bottom line is we have the most secure border in the history of this nation. We got record numbers of criminal aliens arrested and deported.
Touché, my friend.
Because this is one team, one fight. The results speak for themselves.
But you don't dispute you've had disagreements with them at times, even if they've been resolved?
I have a disagreement with we got many federal agencies, and it's not a out of control disagreement. I want to do it this way. Someone wants to do it this way. Then we talk about, well, what works best in this situation. We all come to agreement in the end, but it's a discussion of different ideas. I've been doing this for 40 years. We have the Rodney Scott that runs CBP has been doing it for 30 years. So we all come to the table. We come up with different ideas, but we settle on a mission. And I think the results of this mission speaks for themselves. Again, the most secure border in history of this nation, because of our collaboration and record numbers of criminal aliens being arrested and deported. The results speak for themselves.
Tom Homan, the White House border czar, thank you for spending some of your Sunday with us.
That was Tom Homan. Gradual decay. I'm trying to start an argument. How could I have lost an argument that hasn't been had yet? Right-wingers are morons. Prove me wrong. I've started with a proposition. Can you riff off of that? Or are you not capable of it? Because, you're a moron. I'm not saying that you are. I'm just throwing it out there. Warlord, welcome in, my friend. I mean, that reporting seemed to make it like Homan had disputes with the rest of the administration in the way that they are doing things. I tried to give him credit in the fact that he said no right after I said that. Maybe Tom Homan's not all bad. No. I have to clip that. That's gonna be great. Courts have ruled 4,400 times that ICE jailed people illegally. So that means that this is 4,400 times that we know of that have been adjudicated. God knows how many claims are still yet to be adjudicated. According to Reuters, it has not stopped. Hundreds of judges around the country have ruled more than 4,400 times since October. President Donald Trump's administration is detaining immigrants unlawfully. The decision amounts to a sweeping legal rebuke of Trump's immigration crackdown. Yet the administration has continued jailing people indefinitely, even after the courts ruled the policy was illegal. It is appalling that the government insists that the court should redefine or completely disregard the current law as it is clearly written. U.S. District Judge Thomas Johnston of West Virginia, an appointee of George W. Bush, wrote last week, ordering the release of a Venezuelan detainee in the state. Most of the ruling center on the Trump administration's departure from a nearly 3-decade-old interpretation of federal law that immigrants already living in the United States could be released on bond while they pursue their cases in immigration court. White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson, and that is with no other extenuating circumstances if they don't have crimes pending against them. They were just living here peacefully, going to work and shit, you know. We release them on bond and let them work it out with the immigration court and continue going to work and being, you know, good, productive members of society. That's what non-psychopaths would do. White House spokeswoman Abigail Jackson said the administration is working to lawfully deliver on President Trump's mandate to enforce federal immigration law. Under Trump, the number of people in ICE detention reached about 68,000 this month, up about 75% from when Trump took office last year. A conservative appeals court in New Orleans last week gave the Trump administration a victory in its drive to lock up more immigrants. Just because prior administrations did not fully utilize the law to detain people does not mean they lack the authority to do more, U.S. Circuit Judge Edith Jones wrote in a decision reversing rulings that led to the release of 2 Mexican men. Both remain free, their lawyers said. Other appeals courts are set to take up issue in the coming weeks. Tricia McLaughlin, the Department of Homeland Security spokesperson, said the increase in lawsuits came as no surprise, especially after many activist judges have attempted to thwart President Trump from fulfilling the American people's mandate for mass deportations. The department did not respond to more specific questions about cases and data findings in this story. 4,400 times courts have ruled that ICE is detaining people illegally. Let me give you a specific, let me put faces to that. There were children, citizens, detained in Idaho, left crying after they were zip-tied during a raid. Left for hours.
Of a helicopter, and then the screaming sent Annabelle Romero running.
All of a sudden, I started seeing people running and screaming.
And you join in because
I'm
that's
scared.
what everybody's doing.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's doing it, and you're scared. What do you do when you're scared? You run and you hide.
An estimated 500 people, including 60 children, were at an October horse racing event near Boise, Idaho, as armored vehicles and a swarm of armed agents rumbled in. Among them, a man on horseback. Canyon County Sheriff Kieran Donahue.
How common would it be for an operation to have a helicopter, drones, 5 armored vehicles, 200 officers? How often
Not
do you
often
actually...
at all. So this was a very, very large-scale operation, maybe the largest I've ever been involved with.
5 people have been arrested for nonviolent illegal gambling. About 100 undocumented people were arrested and over 300 U.S. citizens detained.
300 citizens detained.
That ratio igniting a firestorm of controversy in this community, and in a lawsuit filed, the ACLU is accusing Donahue and the federal government of using excessive force, including against children.
What stands out about this raid?
That there were so many children involved.
As word of the raid spread through this agricultural community, immigration lawyer Nikki Ramirez-Smith raced to the scene.
I drove out here to try to figure out what was happening because my phone was...
Yeah, illegal gambling just means
I heard flashbangs.
The websites and the government aren't getting a cut.
So I decided to jump in my car and come out here and see what was happening.
Hiding in a horse stall, Romero, born and raised in Idaho, called her 14-year-old daughter Suhey, telling her to stay in the truck and watch over her younger siblings, Alfredo, who was 6, and Avia, 8. Moments later, agents in tactical...
If it's under 50 people and you're just getting together as friends and shit. You
I
got
was
some
there
sort of
and they're,
pot
like,
going on.
telling me
Like,
to
fuck
put my
that.
hands up, and all I'm asking is for clarification. Who are you? Why am I being detained?
And they were gambling on
Their response,
horses,
I'm
I
gonna
think. They
blow
were
your
horse
head off.
racing.
Video later released on social media shows it getting heated. You can hear one officer bark.
They kicked me, they punched me, they stepped on me like I couldn't breathe or anything. They had me in the horse shavings, and there was 5 of them on top of me.
At the other end of the track, rubber bullets were fired near families to push them back. Law enforcement also confronted Annabelle's 14-year-old daughter, Suhey.
And they're like, get out of the truck, get out of the truck.
Land of the
And
free.
I just stay there, and I just don't get out. And then that's when they pull me out, and I land on my side.
And Alfredo, did the officers try to pull you out of the car?
The kid's name is Alfredo.
I opened the door and I was trying to pretend my sister.
Did you see what they did to your sister? Did you see them kind of? Okay, good. Was it scary, you two?
They were brought onto the racetrack along with hundreds of others.
I was just there, looking around with my siblings everywhere, just trying to find someone I recognize.
They herded us like cattle, basically, and I was just screaming at for my kids.
I haven't seen this before in history.
375 of them U.S. citizens or legal residents, many with hands zip-tied behind their backs, waiting for hours to be processed by ICE. The family was reunited, but when Suhey asked to go to the bathroom, she said agents insisted on zip-tying her, too.
I'm just like there crying, like I'm struggling to breathe, like I can't even get words out.
With her hands bound behind her back, Romero says she was unable to console her daughter.
I can't hug her, I can't hold her because you guys won't let me go, and like she's only 14.
And then that's when the soldiers were like, it's orders, and my mom was like, if it's orders, at least do it in the front. And then they zip tie me, but they zip tie me so tight.
They're just following orders.
Bruises.
Can you show me, Suhey, where you had bruises?
I had bruises all right here along both wrists.
Romero says she was then grilled about her own children.
And they're like, how are they your kids and all this stuff.
Don, welcome in.
I needed to carry their birth certificates around. And
Eventually, more than 300 U.S. citizens were released.
It was right around here where they had parked the armored vehicles. And it was on this side of the fence, just beyond here, where they had set up these immigration tents to process hundreds.
Who's this reporter? This isn't Dokapool, is it?
Those folks were able to prove either their residency or their citizenship, that they were cut loose of these zip ties. And 4 months later, you can still find these zip ties here.
The ACLU lawsuit also alleges that officers levied racial slurs, refused medical care for detainees in obvious need, and refused to release one mother, instead telling her 3-year-old son to keep his hand in her pocket.
Law enforcement should not be zip tying children.
No.
They have done long-lasting damage to children.
ACLU attorney Jen Borchetta says this case is being brought in part for greater scrutiny of immigration officials' treatment of children.
At this moment, when the United States Congress is confronted with a question of how to rein in ICE, the answer is they need to rein in ICE to protect our children.
In an email, the Department of Homeland Security
the
first told
children.
CBS News it was a conspiracy theory. In a second email, they denied ICE agents zip-tied children.
The youngest that was zip-tied was 16 years old, and he had a mustache. There were kids in there. They weren't zipped. Those little ones were not zip-tied.
This is a picture of Suhey. We met her this morning. She's 14 years old.
Okay.
She's I would say, a child, a girl who was zip-tied, and these are the bruises from those zip ties.
Okay. And
Have you seen that or heard?
No, I had not.
He's calling bullshit.
But I will tell you this. I've been in this business a long time. I've gone against gang members who are a lot younger than that.
She was with her 6-year-old brother and 8-year-old sister.
But you're taking that out of context. We
What
do not
kind
know
of
her.
context do you need?
We
There's
do
a
not
young
know
girl
her.
with 2 small
He's
children.
fought gang members that were younger than 14, he
I'm
just
not saying
said.
anything about her. You know, God bless her. I'm sorry she went through that.
The sheriff hinted that the seemingly benign horse race and alleged gambling event may have hidden something more sinister.
You believe that there is some cartel involvement in this allegedly illegal gambling operation.
There is.
Guys, this was in Idaho. Motherfucker is scared of the cartel in Idaho. I mean, cartels exists, But the idea that he just saw some Mexican people and he's like, they're the cartel. Idaho.
Cartel involvement in this operation. We know that to be true.
No criminal charges beyond illegal gambling have been filed in the past 4 months. And these days, like many in their community, Suhey finds herself.
There are Nazi gangs in Idaho. There are plenty of them that you can go find that you could literally call a cartel.
Looking over her shoulder.
I just like keep to myself now. Like if I see law enforcement, I just kind of avoid them.
And given the community,
if I had to guess, they probably run the local Mexican restaurant.
May have backfired.
Law enforcement is not evil because we contained everybody and detained them until we sorted it out. That's not evil.
The question is, have ties been broken?
That is absolutely a Fourth Amendment violation.
Absolutely.
My parents, they came over.
You don't get to just detain people in mass and then sort it out. That is absolutely against the Fourth Amendment.
Here to the United States to give us a better life so we didn't have to suffer. And that day, I felt like our freedom was taken away from us.
Matt Gutman, CBS News, Wilder, Idaho.
Okay, Matt Gutman. That wasn't Ducopel. And you wonder why some woman in Kansas might want to go to an ICE facility and set it on fire. You wonder. You guys are going to love this. I think we got raw footage of it happening. There's apparently a warehouse where ICE was staging operations out of. Thank you, KMBC, Channel 9 ABC.
She's smashing something on it. She's called the cops. She's trying to light it on fire. Oh, you can't do that. Well, she's trying to light it on fire.
Come on, baby, light my fire. Well, I don't think she's going to accomplish anything because it doesn't look like she's very competent. She wanted to light the place on fire. She's not. Whoa. Did finally get it going. Did you make some Molotovs before you go? I mean, do not take advice from JustinFREAKIN. It was kind of cool seeing the other two windows go up. She seems to be dousing it with lighter fluid now. Proud Han, welcome in. This is a warehouse suspected of being a ICE staging facility.
I'm trying to call 911. I'm on hold.
I'm on hold with 911.
911.
This fucking country. This woman is burning down a building. Turns around, like, you calling the cops? He's like, nah, I'm on hold. Only in America.
Grab her.
Yeah, hey, we've got a woman here that's trying to set a warehouse on fire, the one that was supposed to be an ice detention facility. There is fire. She has set it on fire. 149th Street.
I don't know that she set it on fire. There is a fire. It has the potential to get out of control, but at this moment in time, it's still kind of...
149th and Bots. Yeah, the cops need to arrest her. She's a white woman. She's wearing a tank top. I'm a TV news reporter. I'm actually looking at her right now. What's that? It's like, it's blue.
This is not live.
Looks like it's a navy blue top.
Like 2 days ago, maybe.
Glasses. I can't read from a distance here.
She's cute.
Hair, shoulder length. And yeah, it looks like it's petering out, but she certainly made an effort to do it here. So she set on fire. She tried to set the building on fire right by where there are windows.
Yeah, she did a real shit. One, the building is fucking...
It's on the south...
brick or cinder block, stucco or something.
Yeah, it's 14901, I believe it is, which would be...
That ain't gonna work.
Again, it's like right at the corner.
She didn't even do that much damage.
The southeast corner of...
Maybe you'll end up having to replace those 3 windows.
Yeah, my name is Andy Alcock, A-L-C-O-C-K.
And I guess she's gonna sit there until they come and arrest her?
Just sitting here. She was taking pictures of it. She's insane.
She's insane.
I can't tell. I don't think so. But I don't know. I can't say for sure.
She's making a phone call.
She had some kind of a bag with her. But she, looks like she put like gasoline or some accelerant there and then lit it on fire. And I mean, it's not. It looks like it's just scorched the windows maybe, and there's some marks on the building. I don't think it's...
Yeah, maybe they'll have to replace those windows. That's the most damage she did.
Thank you.
I don't know. He's a news reporter. He has to call the cops because he's on video filming.
You want to feed that back?
I'd more or less call 911 and say there's a fire, and I wouldn't say what happened. I wouldn't want to destroy, and then we wouldn't be watching it on the Troll Patrol.
Corner of the building, poured some accelerant, lit it on fire, and then she tried to, have it go more. It looks like, these fires have sort of petered out. There were like 3 of them right by 3 sort of long windows.
No, you call, you report a fire, you get the fire department down there, and let them sort it out. You just a reporter. That's the way I'd look at it. If they want the video, they have to come with a warrant. I mean, he's filming them, DJ. He's okay, so it is a crime for you not to report a crime if you've witnessed it in action. And he's a news reporter that was literally standing there getting B-roll. I think this was a story in the community that, like, oh, this is an ICE detention facility. And he was down there doing a story on it anyway, and this woman showed up and tried to set it on fire. And did a piss poor job at it. And it feels like she's trying to, because she asked if he was calling the cops.
I don't know if the cops come in. Okay.
I feel you, but there's, a reporter that's filming the crime has a duty to report it. As I said, I would have reported it as a fire and then not give the cops the tape unless they asked for it. But I'd put it on YouTube directly after because, watching a woman try to set fire to 3 windows is kind of funny. Are the cops going to show up while we're still here? Oh, did she get in her car? I just automatically cuts this car over here. I don't know if she got in the car and she's getting ready to leave. She sat there for a while. If there was a police chase, I would have liked to have watched it.
Okay.
That's how the video ends. I want to see the full story on this. This is too good. I wonder what they actually charged her with, because simple arson. I hope they didn't throw in like terrorism charges or something. This woman doesn't need to. I wonder why there's not a full news story on it here. On Facebook. I had to get a Facebook to find one.
She's smashing something on it.
Oh, it's not even reporting. Everybody just showing the video. What'd you get charged with? Platform Ventures says it's not moving forward with the sale of the I-49 property rumored to be ICE detention site. Okay, so it hasn't been used to house immigrants yet. It's rumored to be selling to ICE to use to house immigrants. The property's owner, Platform Ventures, said Thursday it is no longer moving forward with any sale of the site to the U.S. government. Kansas City police, as of Thursday night, said no arrests have been made. The bomb and arson team were on the scene investigating. So maybe the local cops are like, we didn't see nothing. Huh. I saw no other update. That was February 13th. I've seen no update since then. So good for her. We heard from Tom Homan earlier. Apparently he made a claim on social media that has now disappeared. Now, this is the head of ICE, not Homan.
Vice was under oath before Congress when he made a damning accusation against law enforcement in Colorado yesterday that local law enforcement here leaked news of a raid in Aurora, and that allowed gang members to escape. But the timeline didn't match
Kenneth,
up.
welcome in, my friend.
When we started asking questions, ICE deleted the accusation from its social media accounts. Our Marshall Zallinger saved the receipts.
So many times, I'll give you the example of Aurora, Colorado.
It's actually Colorado, but that's not what we're fact-checking. When Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons testified in front of Congress Thursday, he made this claim about the February 2025 ICE operation in Aurora.
We were going to serve a criminal warrant on an apartment complex of known TDA gang members that was full. We tried to work with the state and local government. They made notifications that the operations were ongoing. So when tactical teams arrived, protesters were already there and the apartment complex was empty.
ICE social media accounts amplified Lyons' comments to Congress. Here is the post that ended with, "Local law enforcement made a public notification of our presence, a decision that could have cost American lives." After we reached out to ICE asking questions about the claim in this post and Lyons' testimony, the social posts were deleted. This morning, we asked ICE and the Department of Homeland Security why they deleted them and which law enforcement they believe leaked the operation. This evening, we still do not have an answer. When we reached out to the city of Aurora about the claim, we got a statement saying the city, including the Aurora Police Department, was not and has not been involved in the development and activation of any federal immigration enforcement plans in Aurora. Perhaps the reason why the Aurora apartment complex, where members of Tren de Aragua were known to live, was empty? On January 24th, 2025, the city of Aurora posted a court-ordered emergency closure of the apartments, letting residents know they needed to be out by February 18th. ICE showed up February 5th. The only evidence we can find that could have tipped off that ICE was coming did not come from local law enforcement. It came from the U.S. government, 1 week before the operation in the Denver metro area.
U.S. Northcom says as of yesterday, ICE will be able to stage and process people here at Buckley Space Force Base. They say this is at the request of the Department of Homeland Security.
U.S. Northcom in Colorado Springs confirmed on January 28th that Buckley Space Force Base was being set up to house detainees. Today, U.S. Northcom could not comment when we asked if the military could have cost American lives, using the language from the now deleted ICE social post. Buckley Space Force Base referred us to ICE. So what happens if someone makes a false or inaccurate claim to Congress? Could be considered perjury. We asked ICE if Lyons planned to try to amend his testimony in some way. Again, got no answer. A congressional staffer with knowledge of how this works told me,
"This is one of the best news stations in the country. Every time they do a report, it's like insanely hard-hitting. And this reporter specifically, Kyle Clark,
you can make a faithful attempt to correct the record, and that would usually not be considered perjury, but the ultimate decision is up to the attorneys that represent the majority. So in this case, Kyle, the Republican Party attorneys.
As for the bigger idea of whether people knew that deportation raids were coming to Aurora, I recall a guy that I saw on television in October of the year before who said that the mass deportations were going to start in Aurora.
Yeah, I think the person you're talking about was then candidate Donald Trump making a campaign visit to Aurora, calling it Operation Aurora. Now, the claim yesterday seemed perhaps like just before it was about to happen, but there was no secret it was going.
Oh, sorry about that, Warlord.
And again, if ICE has evidence that local law enforcement really did tip off a Venezuelan gang right before a raid, we're all ears because they're making the claim publicly. Marshall Zellinger, thanks for asking questions.
I mean, I doubt it. That doesn't sound like something local cops would do. Does it to you? The idea that ICE agents would lie, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. They apparently faked car trouble to lure a man out of his house.
Announced the end of Operation Metro Surge. A nightmare began for a family in Brooklyn Center. Our Connor White gives us a closer look at ICE agents apparently faking car trouble before detaining a father of 6.
ICE agents surrounded
about 15 minutes away from 420
driveway in Brooklyn Center
Central Time Zone
afternoon. After his son says the agents lured him out of the house.
It seems clear they tricked him.
Yeah. Tricked him into coming outside. So, I mean, he was just trying to get some money for the house, trying to pay off the house.
About 3 minutes before other agents arrive, a neighbor's security camera shows 2 people with apparent car trouble. Flores' son tells us they must have known his dad is a mechanic who takes odd jobs at his house, knowing he'd come out to help. It's moments after he takes a look at the vehicle that the others come swarming in. The original car then leaves at the same time as the other vehicles.
Wow.
His wife says Flores is a lifeline for their 6 children, including 2 with autism that need special care. His family says that DHS sent Flores to El Paso, Texas the very next day, possibly in violation of a federal judge's order. They expect ICE to deport him to Mexico anytime now, explaining he is undocumented and was deported once before about 16 years ago.
My dad's a hardworking individual. He has He came here to give us a better life, and he has done that.
Operation Metro Surge is ending.
White House border czar Tom Homan made that announcement hours before ICE detained Flores, adding that immigration enforcement will continue.
Maybe the operation stops.
Wow.
Immigration does not stop.
It's a message that this federal officer echoed that same
Red
morning
wine.
in Savage.
Carla, welcome in.
Edward Lopez Mendez, going through the asylum process, says he believes ICE were racially profiling him when they pulled him over.
They said they were looking for criminals. We're not criminals.
He says they let him go after he says they realized they had the wrong person, but he says he's afraid, skeptical that any of this is over. In Brooklyn Center, with photojournalist Nick Boki, Connor White, WCCO News.
This week, a federal judge ordered DHS to wait at least 72 hours before transferring an immigrant out of state. We reached out to ICE on the case in Brooklyn Center. They have not responded.
I'm gonna hit the content warning before this one because it's pretty fucking heartbreaking. A teen who called for her dad's release from ICE custody has died of cancer. Philia Torres, 16, was battling stage 4 cancer.
In Chicago after his release from ICE custody. Ruben Torres Maldonado spent nearly 2 weeks in jail facing deportation while his 16-year-old daughter battles stage 4 of a rare and aggressive soft tissue cancer. His young son asking where he's been. Torres Maldonado is an undocumented immigrant who spent more than 20 years in the U.S. His son and daughter were born here. But as part of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, he was detained October 18th. Homeland Security says he's a criminal illegal alien with a history of driving offenses. Agents also claim
he had parking tickets or speeding tickets or something. When they say driving offenses, that's probably the only thing the dude's done.
Immigration crackdown. He was detained October 18th. Homeland Security says he's a criminal illegal alien with a history of driving offenses. Agents also claim he did not comply with officers during his arrest.
I mean, he had parking, like tickets, like traffic tickets from before I was born.
Yep.
I don't
Called
know.
it.
I mean, I've gotten a parking ticket. Am I a criminal?
A Chicago immigration judge yesterday sided
Wait,
with
how old is she?
Maldonado, releasing him on $2,000 bond, agreeing that he does not pose a risk to the community. Homeland Security responding, saying he has a history of habitual driving offenses and has been charged multiple times with driving without insurance, driving without a valid license, and speeding. Torres Maldonado insists he has a license and insurance. Now he'll be able to make his case in court while he's free to spend time with his very ill teenage daughter. Torres Maldonado.
Not anymore. She has passed away. ICE taking precious days away from him and his time with his daughter. A Chicago teen who fought for her father's release while battling stage 4 cancer has died. She died Friday at the age of 16. According to the family representative, the cause of death was metastatic alveolar but why in the fuck am I even trying this? Metastatic alveolar ribomosarcoma, a rare and aggressive form of cancer. Torres grabbed the national spotlight last fall after her undocumented father, Ruben Torres Maldonado, was detained by immigration agents during the Trump administration's immigration crackdown dubbed Operation Midway Blitz. She seems so smart and witty. We got 10 minutes until 4:20 in the Central Time Zone. We're going to cap off our segment on ICE with this awesome video if you didn't see it before.
Welcome
I support ICE.
That's crazy, bro.
I don't know what's crazy about this.
Yeah, I'm going to punch you.
You're gonna punch me?
Yes.
And you're gonna get in trouble for that.
Okay.
I love that the kid was like, okay, I accept the consequences.
I don't know what's crazy about this.
Yeah, I'm going to punch you.
You're gonna punch me?
Yes.
And you're gonna get in trouble for that.
Okay.
Whoa.
And the dude didn't just stand there and take it either. He tried to block the kid punching him. Like, if you're gonna run your mouth,
I support
take
ICE.
the punishment.
I don't know what's crazy about this.
Yeah, I'm going to punch you.
You're gonna punch me?
Yes.
And you're gonna get in trouble for that.
Okay.
Whoa. I support ICE.
That's crazy, bro.
I don't know what's crazy about this.
Yeah, I'm going to punch you.
You're gonna punch me?
Yes.
And you're gonna get in trouble for that.
Okay.
Whoa. I support.
I think the kids are gonna be all right. I like that clip. That's cathartic. Before we get to 420, let's talk about RFK for a little bit. He's been making the rounds the last couple of days. He's got some good quotes here. He was on this morning. He's apparently partnered up with Mike Tyson.
You know, it was really serendipitous. The two guys, Brett Ratner, who helped produce the ad, had a lifelong friendship with him and understood and was aware of the struggle that Mike had, which he says the biggest struggle, the biggest fight that he had in his lifetime was his fight with obesity. He was 340 pounds. He lost his sister when she was 25 to obesity, to a heart attack. And he did, the whole ad was shot in, the whole thing was conceived over about a 3-day period.
He's talking about this ad he did with Mike Tyson.
The script, the script was not working, and he just started talking, and it's an extraordinary, powerful ad. I think it's the most important ad in Super Bowl history because it's a crisis, Peter, that's existential for us now. 77% of our kids cannot qualify for military service. The obesity is off the chart. 38% of American teens are diabetic or pre-diabetic. And the cost to our country is ruinous. When my uncle was president, we spent zero on chronic disease in this country. Now we spend $4.3 trillion a year, and it's growing faster.
Well, that's not because we didn't have chronic disease back then, you moron.
Anything in the budget, and it's going to bankrupt us. And it's really, it's a spiritual warfare because this is a spiritual malaise. So this affects mental health, despite what the New York Times says. There's 75 years of peer-reviewed science that show that improving your health is going to improve even the symptoms of schizophrenia, of ADHD, of bipolar disorder. When you give people in prisons real food, the violence goes down by 40%. The use of restraints goes down by 75%.
Minty.
The food is affecting
Aliens, sports cards, welcome in.
This is warfare. If a foreign enemy or adversary did this to our country, poison them at mass scale, we'd consider it an act of war. And we are poisoning our children at scale, at a cellular level. And it needs to stop. And the government, the Trump administration does not believe in being a nanny state. It's not going to tell you you cannot.
I can't tell.
This. You can't eat. If you want to buy donuts, you should be able to do that. We live in America. Americans have to.
I had like fucking 5 donuts.
They have to take control of it
over the last 24 hours.
Equipping them with the tools.
You're goddamn right. This American will have donuts.
We're telling them what kind of food that they should be eating. It's up to everybody to do that, and it's really going to be a civics project from now on.
Yeah, I don't think RFK is the person to be telling anybody what to do. We'll go over that in a second, but this is the Mike Tyson commercial he's referring to. It aired during the Super Bowl, apparently. It's not one that we caught when we were watching commercials.
My sister's name was Denise. She died of obesity at 25.
My sister's name.
She had a heart attack. I was so fat and nasty. I would eat anything. I was like 345 pounds, a quart of ice cream every hour. I had so much.
You're depressed, motherfucker.
I just wanted to kill myself.
He's talking about like right after his boxing career ended. Of course, you were depressed.
We're the most powerful country in the world, and we have the most obese, fudgy people.
Fudgy people.
About processed food in this country.
I mean, I don't disagree with that.
She died of.
But you probably shouldn't be calling people fudgy people. Damn it, Mike. And I definitely don't want to be taking health advice from this motherfucker. He was on with Theo Vaughn the other day talking about, like, why, if you are he has never in his life not been a multimillionaire, why would he be snorting cocaine off of toilet seats?
And I said, I'm not scared of a germ. You know, I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. And I know this disease will kill me. Right. Like if I don't. And I said, I'm not scared of a germ. You know, I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. And I know this disease will kill me. Right. Like if I don't. And I said, I'm not scared of a germ. You know, I used to.
For the love of God, if you're snorting cocaine off of a toilet seat, tell me you're doing it because it's a kink to you. Like, there's no time when I'm like, oh, I've got no other place to put my cocaine. Let me line it out on a toilet seat. Apparently, Sports Card says he's been there. I have not.
Snort cocaine off of toilet seats. And I know this disease will kill me. Right. Like if I don't. And I said, I'm not scared of a germ. You know, I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats.
Nary a Coke spoon in the building.
I know this disease will kill me. Right. Like if I don't.
We're coming up on 4:20 in the Central Time Zone. If you would like to join me, get your marijuana accoutrements ready. I don't have any cocaine for you. None on the toilet seat. Oh, God. We're going to be talking about Epstein when we come back from our 4:20 break. Maybe our last one, if I can get TikTok working. We'll go to TikTok, and then I can't smoke weed on stream anymore. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for the good of the show. Less than a minute until 4:20 in the Central Time Zone. We got about 45 seconds. Is Epstein alive? And this is TMZ reporting it. I did not believe any of the reports that Epstein might be alive until TMZ dropped a report on it. So now I'm listening. TMZ, the top news organization in our society. 20 seconds until 4:20. I saw some fake pictures the other day, and it was not convincing. Central Time Zone people, light one up, tip one back. Oh, DJ Dub, I don't know if you were here last hour. I think the song worked. Thank you again. I think it got around the copyright claim. Oh my God, that one got me. I think it got around it. I've not had any claims so far. All right. we're going to cover Epstein. And just a reminder, this motherfucker's in the Epstein files. He's defended his dinners he's had with Epstein. But we have some intrigue. Apparently a butler stole a black book. Good afternoon to you, Flo. Welcome in. There was apparently a black book stolen by a butler. What is in this black book?
Welcome back, everyone. Within the 3 million some odd Jeffrey Epstein files released by the DOJ in recent weeks, hidden camera video is shedding light on a little known but critical story of Jeffrey Epstein's infamous black book. How did the FBI ultimately secure the only?
Yeah, these are the juicy nuggets
Jill
I
Bryan
like
has
to
a
focus
fascinating
on.
story in tonight's Prime Focus.
Who created this book? Epstein himself. This book was made by Epstein? All his Mercedes, all his claims, they were supposed to have this. He made all of it disappear.
A hidden book, a sting operation.
Everything's on track, pal. I'll have everything all ready to go tomorrow. Are you going to be available tomorrow afternoon?
And a secret camera.
Those are girls' numbers, or these are girls' numbers? No, all of these to here.
Newly released FBI audio and video from the Department of Justice's trove of Epstein records detailing like never before the mission to recover the only known copy of what investigators and others have called Jeffrey Epstein's infamous black book.
Wow.
Through the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, they never had that black book. They never really even knew about it. It's a plethora of the rich and famous. It's just really the Holy Grail, as they call it.
The book investigators believed might hold the keys to exposing Epstein's secret world, his connections, and his crimes.
All minors? All young girls? Very young. Very young. Like when you say very young, how young are we talking?
Thank you, Flo. Make sure you like the stream over there on the YouTube.
It all started in March 2005.
Getting DP'd by the Troll Patrol.
Investigation on Epstein looking into his scheme for sexual massages from young women after a 14-year-old girl reported to law enforcement she was molested at his mansion. ABC News covering it all in 2019 for...
This apparently all came to light because of a fight between two girls, and one of the girls accused the other one of being a hooker, and she was an Epstein victim.
2020 special.
The Palm Beach
That's what kicked off that investigation.
They really had a lot of evidence. They did trash pulls. It was an 11-month investigation. It was intense.
But Epstein caught wind there was going to be a search at his Palm Beach residence and devised a plan. Videos of the Palm Beach police search match what investigators also reported in their own documents. That monitors, keyboards, and printers were found, but no computers.
Jeffrey Epstein was tipped off on the search warrant. You see the police video when they go into the house. The computers had all been removed.
Newly revealed witness testimony from 2019 shows Epstein called one of his assistants, who he was also abusing, and directed her to remove not only the computers, but all the contact books in his house. Documents show in October 2005, Epstein told her to go to Palm Beach to meet someone to hand over the contact books and computers, and that Epstein ordered her to hand everything over to a private investigator. She was then directed by Epstein to collect all the contact books from his home in the Virgin Islands, and later to bring items back from the island to New York, where she was told to shred it in Maxwell's office. And the contact books from both residences then erased, or so they thought. Unbeknownst to Epstein or his now convicted accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, Alfredo Rodriguez, Epstein's butler, had kept a copy.
Alfredo? Is Alfredo a common Spanish name? This is the second Alfredo on this show alone.
Of the book. Rodriguez worked as the manager of Epstein's Palm Beach home for 6 months between 2004 and 2005. Documents show he told the FBI, among other things, he knew that Epstein was having sexual contact with minor females at his house.
Alfredo called the police. I mean, Alfredo was terminated.
Alfredo called the police. Alfredo was terminated.
His concern about the activities that were going on inside the bedroom.
Rodriguez spoke to the
Alfredo
Palm Beach
was
police and
plated with some
FBI,
garlic
but
bread.
never shared he had a copy of the book, essentially depriving law enforcement of a bounty of investigative leads. After Epstein was behind bars, lawsuits and civil depositions began.
One of the people I deposed that summer was Alfredo Rodriguez.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give
Alfredo.
nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Brad Edwards, representing Epstein survivors, interviewed Alfredo Rodriguez 2 times.
Alfredo Rodriguez was very nervous for the first part of the deposition. You could tell he had more information than he was giving. He talked about, it's the Black Book. He talked about being fired and obtained some documents that had some,
that was Alfredo,
some of the young girls that were coming over to the house. But he gave the impression in his deposition that he didn't know where that was.
Rodriguez, desperate for money, saying no one would hire him, later asked Edwards for $50,000 in exchange for a copy of the book.
Are you telling me that that was Edwards?
He needed to just turn it.
And Alfredo is still being, like, his identity has been, I wouldn't see why not. I wouldn't see why the deposition wouldn't be public at this point.
Over. So
I think that was Alfredo we were seeing.
The U.S. Attorney's Office and said, look, I have to report that a witness
Edwards was the attorney.
A document hostage with a price tag of $50,000.
A sting operation with the FBI was quickly launched to retrieve a copy of the book from Rodriguez. New video and phone calls show the exchange.
I was going to tell you where to meet me. Okay, Gary, go ahead. Give me the address. There's a Hilton Hotel at the corner of Glades Road in Boca. I'm in room 118.
No. The FBI, no, the FBI didn't know nothing. Nothing. The FBI just went through the files of Palm Beach Police Department.
Hey, he's like Italian or something.
The man on the right, an FBI agent,
Alfredo Rodriguez, is like Italian.
On the left, Rodriguez in possession of a copy of the Black Book. In the hour-long recorded conversation, Rodriguez tells the undercover FBI agent who to contact, circling the names of people he thought would have more useful information.
I highlight in this book that I have access, crucial information. I put it into my handwriting, and also I compile a list of the people, a list of the girls on Palm Beach that were going when I was household manager. Okay, but I took my time to organize this.
Once again, this is 2005. This is Jeffrey Epstein's butler we're seeing going to the FBI and snitching and saying Epstein is raping young girls. Wow. And with a black book and pointing to names and being like, go talk to these people.
Stickers and I see dates. All right. You will see a lot of important people here.
The amount of famous names that were in that. Mick Jagger, Courtney Love, Prince Andrew, Fergie, just people from all over the world. President Clinton, President Trump. He wasn't president at the time, but Donald Trump was in there. And just so many famous people were in there.
And though many names are listed, inclusion in the book is not evidence of any wrongdoing. In the video, Rodriguez calls out names of people he thought had information, including now President Donald Trump, who's denied any knowledge of Epstein's crimes.
Of course, Donald Trump.
Also mentioned,
of course, Donald Trump, he said,
from everywhere in the world.
The fact that the names and numbers of these girls, not only here but in other locations throughout the world, were contained in this book, he thought he needed to preserve that information.
All right, let me get you your money, buddy. Okay, here.
Shortly after that, when I guess they were supposed to give him the $50,000, he was arrested. It was uncovered to Alfredo that these were not Brad's fixers. This was the FBI.
Fast forward to 2026 as Epstein survivors continue to call for transparency and accountability.
While survivors have been exposed,
Abusers' names and contact information is redacted while our faces and stories are left on full display.
If you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
And the deceased sex offender's so-called black book is now held by the FBI. It's been used as evidence during civil litigation and in Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal trial. Alfredo Rodriguez passed away in 2015 at the age of 60. After holding on to Epstein's book for 5 years, he was charged with obstruction of justice and in 2012 sentenced to 18 months in prison. Longer than Jeffrey Epstein would ever spend behind bars.
Wow.
Our thanks to Jay O'Brien.
The dude that tried to drop the dime on him. Insanity. Marjorie Taylor Greene coming right out telling the MAGA people it was Donald Trump. Trump blocked the release of these files. It was all him.
That fight to release the Epstein files came directly from President Trump. And I know a lot of people have a hard time with that, but that is the truth. He fought the hardest to stop these files from being released. That fight to release the Epstein files came directly from...
She is making this a cause, and I'm gonna support her in this particular instance. All of you MAGA influencers and the rest mocking the seriousness of women who were trafficked and raped as teenagers and young women look like cult fools. Good luck trying to get women to vote for Republicans in the midterms, you insensitive clowns. The Republican Party already has a woman voting problem. Keep mocking those of us who take rape and pedophilia seriously and demand accountability for corruption. That came from former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Alfredo spent more time in prison than Epstein ever would. But could that change? Is he actually alive? TMZ reports.
Look, there are real things to be outraged about in the Epstein files. The Department of Justice released over 3 million pages of documents, 180,000 images, and 2,000 videos at the end of January. That is a staggering amount of material that we have tirelessly been going through since its release. And buried in the files are genuinely disturbing details about the alleged conduct of some very powerful people, and people are upset about the apparent lack of accountability that those people are facing. Because of this, the internet has been forced to do their own digging, and a lot of information has come out since, which we've been covering here. The interesting files we've covered in the last week include things such as footage from the prison where Epstein was being held, potentially getting wiped, online rumors of a prisoner swap, and even emails about human cloning. And the internet just continues to produce more and more findings. Just recently, conspiracy theories around Epstein being alive have been making the rounds on X, initially kicked off by this file. The file reads May 7th, 2019, 6:30 p.m. The $25.95 charge was for V-Bucks on Fortnite. Now, for those of you who don't know, Fortnite is a video game and V-Bucks are an in-game currency that you can purchase with real money. This blew up on social media, and people subsequently started pointing out this file, which shows a list of email accounts purportedly belonging to
And
Jeffrey
the
Epstein,
Littlest Jeff
one of them titled Littlest Jeff
username.
at Yahoo. Fortnite.com. Then social media took the conspiracy a step further by going on a website that tracks Fortnite accounts. Social media sleuths linked the username LittlestJeff1 to a Fortnite account that this ex-user claims was active after Epstein's death. The tweet reads as follows.
With an Israeli flag,
There are reports of
ironically.
Epstein's Fortnite account active in Israel. The username LittlestJeff1 that is in recently released Epstein files, where the account bought 25.95 V-Bucks on May 7th, 2019. The account is in fact linked to Jeffrey Epstein himself through receipts in the recently unsealed Epstein files. Example for UFC Select.
I don't know that they have more than the 6 names that they named. There was that one document that listed all the co-conspirators, and that document is blacked out. That's like, it's 11 or 12 people that they thought they could charge as co-conspirators. That's the one that Thomas Massey wants completely unredacted. That would give us another 6 names.
Addressed directly to LittlestJeff1, confirming it as his username there. People online matched this exact username to a Fortnite profile on Fortnite Tracker. The profile went private shortly after going viral, which aligns with recent X discussions. The issue with the initial file listing the transaction of V-Bucks is that we cannot see who the email was sent from or who it was sent to, making it possible for this transaction to be conducted by literally anyone. But what is social media saying about their findings outside of the DOJ's release? So in early February, this image started circulating on X, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere, showing what appears to be a man with long gray hair, a beard, wearing sunglasses, walking between 2 other men on a street in Israel. Posts sharing it racked up millions of views, with captions claiming Epstein faked his death and was alive and walking the streets of Tel Aviv. Now,
if anybody did, it was Israel.
These conspiracies. You can go back and watch some of our videos on some pretty interesting theories people have. But here's the thing. The original uncropped version of this image, the one most people never saw because it was deliberately cut down before being shared, clearly shows the Gemini logo in the bottom right corner. Gemini, for those who don't know, is Google's AI image generator. Now, according to PolitiFact, the image was traced back to a Reddit forum called Hard AI Images, where the user who posted it on February 1st explicitly stated it was made with Gemini. The subreddit's own description invites users to post their funny hard AI images,
welcome in.
and this was never meant to be taken seriously. And if you look closer at the background, the road signs appear to show Hebrew text with English translations, but the translations are inaccurate, and the street name shown, Hungus Ev, does not correspond to any actual street in Tel Aviv on Google Maps. The signs are gibberish because this is what AI does. It approximates language without understanding it. Now, you may have your own theories when it comes to whether or not Jeffrey Epstein is dead, but this image does not appear to prove anything.
Oh, he's dead.
The image is in no way real and is 100% AI generated. All right, now let's talk about this image. This one is arguably more damaging because it targeted a specific real living person. After the Epstein files dropped, multiple AI-generated images began circulating that appeared to show New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani as a young child alongside his mother, the filmmaker Mira Nair, posing with Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Bill Clinton, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates. And in this image, you see what looks like a group photo on a city street at night. Mamdani appears to be about 12 years old, standing next to his mother with these high-profile figures gathered around them. Now, here is what actually happened, and this is important. According to the Associated Press, one of the emails in the Epstein files was from a publicist, Peggy Segal, who wrote to Epstein describing an after-party she attended in 2009 for a film screening. Now, that party apparently took place at Ghislaine Maxwell's New York townhouse, and in the email, Segal name-dropped a number of attendees, among them Bill Clinton, Jeff Bezos, and Mira Nair, who is Mamdani's mother and a celebrated filmmaker. Now, that email appears to be real. It is in the files, but here's the critical detail. Mamdani was 18 years old in 2009. He was not a baby, and he was not a small child. According to the AP, every single one of these images contained a synth ID watermark that is a digital watermark developed by Google that identifies
AI?
content created or edited using AI tools. The images originated originated from a parody account on X that openly describes itself as creating AI-generated content, memes, videos, and visuals. It was never pretending to be real. And yet, according to Rolling Stone, prominent figures including Alex Jones shared the images and claimed they were authentic. Jones even posted that AI chatbot Grok confirmed the photos were real. Fact-checking notes were later appended to his posts, clarifying that they were made with AI. The images also fueled a completely baseless claim that Epstein was Mamdani's biological father. His actual father is Mahmoud Mamdani, who teaches anthropology at Columbia University. Another false claim suggested Nair had once been married to a relative of Epstein's, but it appears that's not true either. Her previous marriage was to a photographer named Mitch Epstein, who has no known familial connection to Jeffrey Epstein. Mayor Mamdani himself addressed the images publicly, saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, that on a personal level, seeing fabricated images of yourself spread across the globe in an age of misinformation is an incredibly painful experience. Now, we've talked a lot about the files and covered the many high-profile people that are alleged to have been involved with Epstein. And people have one question on their mind. Is there anyone facing consequences? According to Business Insider, at least 7 high-profile figures across business, politics, and entertainment have now resigned or been ousted due to their alleged connections with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. The most recent high-profile resignation came last night when Kathy Remler, a top lawyer at Goldman Sachs and former Obama White House counsel, announced she'll be stepping down on June 30th. Emails appear to show her referring to Epstein as Uncle Jeffrey and allegedly receiving expensive gifts like designer bags and fur coats, all after his 2008 conviction. She allegedly even gave him PR advice 4 months before his 2019 arrest. In entertainment, Casey Wasserman's talent agency is reportedly losing clients. Soccer star Abby Wambach and singer Chappell Roan both dropped his talent agency after emails revealed Wasserman allegedly exchanged flirtatious messages with Ghislaine Maxwell in 2003. The scandal has also gone outside of the US and reached international politics as well. According to CNBC, the CEO of Dubai's largest port, Sultan Ahmed Yuvraj Narayan, is being replaced after his possible close relationship to Jeffrey Epstein was revealed. Peter Mandelson, former UK ambassador to the US, was already fired in September and resigned from the House of Lords. All of these figures I just listed insist that their relationships with Epstein were either professional or regrettable mistakes, but with 3 million documents released,
regrettable mistakes.
Who else could see consequences after the release of these files? Let us know what you think down below. As I always say, we read the comments on every single video, so we're always interested.
It was TMZ's reporting. It's pretty much the same report we watched from like France 24 last week on the Epstein videos. Laura Loomer sent one of her minions after Thomas Massie, and this is what happened.
No, I didn't see him on that. Congressman Massie, in the last week, you would have called on President Trump to apologize to Barack Obama, and you're standing here with Congressman Khanna at a press conference implying that the president is a pedophile protector. Are you hating on Trump to try out for CNN? I didn't crack out. Blockers are wearing off. Oh, really? Yeah. Congressman, you need to answer my question. You're
a little casual transphobia.
You're getting old. Answer my question. Too scared to answer.
Yeah, Carla said it earlier. The man's probably a raging transphobe, or at least plays to that part of the base. But there's a lot of things that he and the left can agree on, and we should totally work together to make those things happen, like getting money out of politics. I'm all about that. He was on ABC this week, earlier today.
Look, and Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky, who helped lead the efforts to release the Epstein files. Good morning to you. Congressman, I would like your overall reaction to the hearing this week and Pam Bondi's performance, combativeness.
I don't think she did very well. She came with a book full of insults, one for each congressperson. She obviously had one for me. And, you know, I've been there when Merrick Garland is there. Obviously, politically, I don't agree with him, but he performed much better in terms of at least not looking bad. And unfortunately, we didn't get the answers we wanted about the Epstein files.
Looked like a complete fool.
From her.
Did you get any of the answers you wanted?
No, but she did come off her script and engage with me about this production of documents, where she admitted that 40 minutes after I pointed out to the DOJ that they had over-redacted some of the documents, they did unredact those documents. So it's clear they've made mistakes in the document production. At least she acknowledges that tacitly. And it's clear that their work is not done here yet.
And I want to go to some of those unredacted files. You and Congressman Ro Khanna said names of some of the men who were redacted shouldn't have been redacted. They then sent that back to you, and 2 of them were not redacted. But on Friday, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche accused you and Congressman Khanna of unmasking those people, saying they had nothing to do with Epstein or Maxwell. They were from an FBI lineup years ago. What's your response to that?
Well, 3 hours before Todd Blanche himself unredacted those names, I told him in an X post, which I know he read because he reposted it, that those may be men in a lineup. And then I went on TV and said those may be men in a lineup. And it was actually the DOJ who released those names, which is fine, but they omitted the context that I provided, which is these may be men in a lineup. Now, there were 2 men who needed to be named, one of whom has already resigned. The emirate, who's a sultan, resigned as a CEO of a very large company because we released his name. And there's another man, Leslie Wexner, I'll add him to the list with Jess Staley and Leon Black, who need to be investigated right now. They've appeared in these files. Leslie Wexner is the one who, you know, Pam Bondi said, oh, he's appeared thousands of times in these documents. We're not covering up anything. But I pointed out to her, they redacted his name from the one document that says child sex trafficking co-conspirator. And my question is, who is the person at DOJ who redacted Leslie Wexner's name from a document titled child sex trafficking with
Raskin says it's over 1 million times in all of the documents,
right now
but we don't have them all yet.
And they say he was not a co-conspirator. Wexner has a statement. The assistant U.S. attorney told Mr. Wexner's legal counsel in 2019 that Mr. Wexner was neither co-conspirator nor target in any respect. Mr. Wexner cooperated fully by providing background information on Epstein and was never contacted again. But I'd like to move on if we can. Yesterday, the DOJ sent Congress a letter explaining the reason for all these reactions. So you are not satisfied with that?
No, they're citing deliberative process privilege in order not to release some of the documents. The problem with that is the bill that Ro Khanna and I wrote says that they must release internal memos and notes and emails about their decisions on whether to prosecute or not prosecute, whether to investigate or not investigate. It's important they follow that, because then we could find why they didn't prosecute Leslie Wexner. What was the decision tree there? And also why in 2008 they gave Jeffrey Epstein such a light sentence. And finally, I know the
decision
wants
tree,
to say they're done with this document production.
Like he's playing a
the
video game?
They've taken down documents before we were able to go over to the DOJ and look at the unredacted versions. They took down some of the most significant documents, 2 of them involving Virginia Giuffre's case and other things. The picture of Epstein in a room where it's got CIA written on the boxes, that's been taken down. We want to be able to look at all these files. They can't keep those documents down after they've already produced them.
I want to talk to you about one of the moments in the hearing, and that is the Attorney General would not look at the Epstein survivors behind her. Did that surprise you?
I think that was kind of cold on her part. I think she was afraid to. And look, these survivors would love to have a meeting. It's not about Bill Clinton and it's not about Donald Trump.
I'm sure, but I bet he's a gamer
Act is
too.
about getting these survivors justice. We've got some degree of transparency, but it's called the Department of Justice, not the Department of Transparency. And so what these survivors need, they need to see some of their own 302 forms, which haven't been released. And they also need to
Go look up older pictures of Thomas Massey. Tell me he's not a gamer.
Do you still have confidence in Pam Bondi as Attorney General?
I don't think Pam Bondi has confidence in Pam Bondi. She wasn't confident enough to engage in anything but name-calling in a hearing. And so, no, I don't have confidence in her. She hasn't got any sort of accountability there at the DOJ. When I asked her specifically who redacted Leslie Wexner's name from the one document that mattered, she couldn't give me an answer. She wouldn't give me an answer. But ultimately, it's her who is responsible for the document production, according to our law. The Attorney General, it's not Todd Blanche, it's not the people below them. You can assign tasks to people, but you can't assign your responsibility.
And just very quickly, if you will, you've supported most of what Donald Trump has done during his presidency, but because of your actions with these files, he is supporting your primary opponent and has waged very personal attacks on you. I know we just have a few seconds here, but just your reaction to that.
They
Look,
don't
this
know
is
what
about
the fuck they're doing.
Epstein
You understand
files.
that?
The people who are funding the attacks against me, they may or may not be implicated in these files, but they were certainly rubbing shoulders with the people who are in these files. They're billionaires who are friends with these people, and that's what I'm up against in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump told us that even though, he had dinner with these kinds of people in New York City and West Palm Beach, that he would be transparent, but he's not. He's still in with the Epstein class. This is the Epstein administration, and they're attacking me for trying to get these files released.
And again, I'm going to say President Trump has not been accused of anything criminal. Thank you very much for joining.
It's Martha, right? Shut up, Martha. Trump has been accused of plenty of wrongdoing. I skipped this earlier. I can't believe I let this pass when I was doing the RFK. Talking about snorting cocaine off of toilet seats and how we need to be more healthy.
What do you think he's doing? Processed food kills. Remember that.
I really want a donut now. I think we still have donuts.
What do you think he's doing?
Will Mike Tyson come and knock it out of my hand?
Remember that.
Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN.
All we're establishing is this guy's wicked, sick aesthetic.
Not high enough for this shit.
I guess I gotta thank Matt Walsh for introducing me to JustinFREAKIN.
Hey there, y'all. We're about to get stupid, locked into what that news be doing. Fu Manchu